Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a question that touches all of us at our core. What are you afraid of? This isn't just about surface level fears. We're going to explore the hidden anxieties, the patterns that keep us stuck, and most importantly, what lies on the other side of those fears. The cards I've drawn reveal a powerful story about the fears that might be holding you back right now. If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments below, and remember, take only what resonates, leave the rest. Let's begin. What's coming through first is a deep fear of making the wrong choice, the wrong decision. You're standing at a crossroads right now and you've deliberately put yourself in a state of avoidance. There's a choice in front of you. Maybe it's about a relationship, a career move, or a personal transformation, and you're terrified that whichever path you choose will be the wrong one. But here's what's being revealed. You're more afraid of the decisions than the actual outcome. You've convinced yourself that staying in limbo is safer than moving forward. And the truth, this indecision is actually causing you more pain than any choice could. What you're actually afraid of is not trusting yourself. You're afraid that you don't have the wisdom, the clarity to choose correctly. You've been frozen yourself in place. You're protecting yourself from potential regret by refusing to move at all. This goes deeper though. Your fear isn't just about decisions, it's about illusions versus reality. You're afraid of what you don't know. You're afraid that things aren't as they seem, that people aren't who they pretend to be, or that you're deceiving yourself about your own situation. There's anxiety lurking beneath the surface, a sense that something is hidden from you, or that you're hiding something from yourself. You're afraid of the unknown, of what might be lurking in the shadows of your life. Perhaps you're afraid of your own subconscious, those dreams, intuitions, or gut feelings that keep whispering the truths you don't want to hear. This can also indicate fear of losing control, of being overwhelmed by emotions that you can't manage, of not being able to trust your own perception of reality. You might be afraid of your own depth, your own complexity, the parts of yourself that you haven't fully explored. But here's the truth. This fear is actually your initiation. You must walk through uncertainty to find what's real. Now here's what gets really interesting. You're afraid of success. I know that sounds contradictory, but the energy is unmistakable. You're terrified of victory, of recognition, of achieving what you're capable of. Why? Because success means visibility. It means people will see you, judge you, have opinions about you. You're afraid of standing out, of being in the spotlight of everyone watching. You're afraid of responsibility that comes with winning, of having to maintain success, of the potential fall from grace. There's also a fear of outgrowing people in your life. You're afraid that if you achieve what you're capable of, you'll lose connections, friendships, or relationships with people that you can't celebrate your growth with. You're afraid of leaving people behind or being left alone at the top. You might be self-sabotaging yourself right now before the finish line because being invisible is safer than being celebrated. But the victory you're capable of, it's your destiny calling, and fear is the only thing standing between you and claiming it. The next layer confirms that you've been uncovering. You are deeply afraid of being trapped. You'll feel free, bound by your circumstances, surrounded by limitations, seemingly with no way out. But here's the crucial thing coming through. These bonds are largely self-imposed. You've got more freedom than you realise, more options than you can see right now. This is a prison of your own making. You're afraid that you're stuck in the circumstances, stuck in your patterns, stuck in your life. But the deeper the fear is, you're afraid that even if you could escape, you wouldn't. You're afraid of your own powerlessness. You own learned helplessness. This energy often appears when someone is afraid to see their situation clearly because the truth would demand action. It's easier to believe you're trapped than to acknowledge that you've been free all along, but too afraid to walk away. What would you have to confront if you saw your situation clearly? That's what you're really afraid of. The truth isn't that you're trapped, it's the liberation that would require you to change everything. And here comes your potential, your invitation, and yes, another fear. You're absolutely terrified of new beginnings. You're standing at the edge of something new, something that could change everything, and you're afraid to leap because you can't see where you'll land. You're afraid of starting over, afraid of looking foolish, naive, or inexperienced. You're afraid of being a beginner again, and you've worked so hard to become competent in your current life. You're afraid of feeling of not knowing of what you're doing. But here's what's being shown. Not because knowing is the beginning of all adventures, being unburdened by others' opinions, passed by failures, the weight of overthinking, and there's the magic begins. You're being called to embrace spontaneity, to trust the universe will catch you. This is profound. You're afraid of transformation, of rebirth, and becoming who you truly meant to be. You're being called to awaken, to shed your old skin, to step into a new identity, and that terrifies you on a soul deep level. Why? Because transformation requires you to let die the version of yourself you've been clinging to. It requires you to be witnessed in your becoming. It requires you to look at yourself honestly and make radical choices going forward. You're afraid of accountability to yourself and others. You're afraid of what people will think when you change, when you no longer fit into the box they've put you in. You're afraid of disappointing people who preferred the old you, who felt comfortable with what you used to be. But there's also a fear of judgment here, both from others and from yourself. What if you look back and realise you've wasted your time? What if other people judge your choices you've made? But this transformation isn't about their opinion. Here's your breakthrough moment, and surprise, you're afraid of this too. There is potential here, creative fire, passion, new inspiration. It's a spark of something amazing and wants to come through to you. And you're afraid of your own power. You're afraid that if you could create it, you'll actually get tried. You're afraid of the passion inside you, because passion demands expression and expression demands vulnerability. You're afraid that if you pursue what truly lights you up, you'll fail, or worse, you'll succeed and life will never be the same. There's an energy here of raw creative potential, of inspired action, of new enterprise, or a new project that wants you to be born through you. But you keep yourself small because your bigness terrifies you. Now, here we get to the heart of everything. You're afraid of your own hunger. You are afraid of wanting too much, of being too much, of needing too much. Perhaps you've been taught that desire is unseemly, that ambition is selfish, and that having strong needs makes you vulnerable and demanding. But what's coming through is your own yearning is actually sacred. Your deep desires are signposts to that purpose. You're afraid of your hunger because you're afraid you won't be fed, that you'll be left wanting forever, and that you'll be judged having a big appetite after all. Maybe you've learned to make yourself small, to diminish your wants, to pretend that you don't know what you actually need. Maybe you're afraid that if you admit what you truly want, you'll be rejected or disappointed. The truth being revealed here, your hunger is the life force. It's what makes you human, what drives you forward, what connects you to your passion and your purpose. Deny your hunger and you deny the very thing that makes you alive. You're afraid of being too much or not enough, too emotional, too cold, too ambitious, too complacent, too passionate, or too detached. You're terrified of the pendulum swings, so you try and stay rigidly in the centre, in control, in perfect balance at all times. But what's being shown here is growth happens at the edges, and you must fully explore the range of experience to know who you truly are. You're not meant to live a beige, moderate, carefully controlled life. You're meant to feel deeply, risk boldly, and yes, sometimes go too far. You can learn where your true boundaries actually are. So what are you afraid of? Everything that could set you free. You are afraid of decisions, of the unknown, of success, of being trapped, of new beginnings, of transformation, of your own power, of your own hunger, and living at full volume. But here's once the reading reveals every single one of these fears is actually pointing you towards liberation. There's not obstacles, these are invitations. The path forward requires you to feel fear and move anyway. Your fears, you are not your fears, and you are not the one who to walk away with them. The life you want is on the other side, and everything you're afraid of, the only question is, are you ready to claim it? If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments, and remember, you are braver than you think. Until next time.